5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh, 07 Star Citizens, and welcome to Answer the Call, your weekly call-in show podcast thingy where myself and Mike talk all about Star Citizen. And I have been away for a week, and luckily the divorce didn't go through, so Mike and I are back together officially. It looked like a fantastic episode last week, Mike.
It was good. It was good. Yeah, I think the talking like master modes and stuff with people is always going to be a good one. So
Yeah.
Also, Board Gamer just rated. Thank you for the raid board on
Hello,
Twitch.
board.
Hello.
Yeah.
You've been gone. So where were you? Let's start out with where you were last week.
Yep, so I was off at DreamHack Melbourne last week as a creator, where apparently there was over 600 creators invited, which was kind of insane. But I had like a lot of really interesting conversations and a lot of really interesting insights into like Star Citizen as well, weirdly enough. And it was a fun time overall. Watched a lot of Counter-Strike. Watched a ton of Counter-Strike. There is nothing better than Australian arena Counter-Strike. There's just an extra level to it. It's great. Everyone popping off shoeies every second moment.
Classic.
And the Twitch CEO was there as well. He came
sick.
down for DreamHack. So I didn't get to have a conversation with him because he was too busy with a lot of cooler creators. But it was cool to sort of see him around as well.
One day.
But there was one sort of big takeaway that I got from the entire weekend, which is that, no one knows what this game is. No one's ever heard of this game. And I was really, really surprised by that. I think because I'm so ingrained in Star Citizen, I'd always just assumed everyone had heard of the scam. And that is apparently not the case. Literally no one has heard about it.
My experience is totally different. So,
really?
Just like at work randomly with people that I worked with that were talking about games that they were playing. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I play this game too. It's called Star Citizen. And they were like, oh, that game that's never coming out. And that was like the comment every time. And I was surprised that people knew it. I assumed nobody did. I was the opposite of you.
Yeah.
And everybody knew it.
Yeah.
So it was
Well,
Australia.
It was certainly... Yeah, apparently. Well, because we have a massive Australian community of Star Citizen.
We do, yeah.
It is pretty large. So I guess I was just surprised in that factor that, you know, these people that literally live and breathe video games every single day, whether it's the creators or, you know, all these people that are like super heavily into SC or League or whatever, just did not know what the game was. And I was really surprised. And that kind of gave me a little hope for like big public releases of the game eventually, as long as CIG can present the game well. In that, like, there's a lot of people that have not been tainted from the last 12 years of, you know, like bad company decisions, but then also all the bad media that's come with it and whatnot. So there's maybe good news for the game in that aspect.
Probably. That's what I was saying.
But overall, it's great.
Because obviously there's been like a weird moment in time that happens every once in a while in Star Citizen's history, and that's when a big creator on Twitch plays Star Citizen, everybody kind of freaks out on both sides. Like freaks out, oh my God, they're going to see the game is so bad. And oh my God, they're finally validating my feelings.
Yeah.
Because when somebody who has 100 viewers plays it, it doesn't validate their feelings because both people aren't human beings, right? But for whatever reason, it takes a creator who is big to validate your feelings, and Summit has definitely been doing that. And I think he's gone about playing Star Citizen differently than I've seen it in the past, because he's come in and out from time to time. And he went hard on it so far, and did a 16-hour stream or some shit of Star Citizen today. So it's been pretty cool. And what I hope comes out of this is that the company realizes that people really want this to be a game. And I think they do realize that based on all their communications over the last like 6 months.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's something that CIG have certainly communicated to us recently that like they want to make a game that is a game that is fun, etc.
Yeah.
And seeing that come to fruition is great. I am kind of curious. I imagine Summit's just been... I haven't been watching because Summit plays while I'm asleep. I imagine that he's been playing 322.
For the most part, Burks took him along in like 323 a little bit too, to be like, hey, see all this jank? It's not as jank here, I think.
Yeah.
I'm getting all secondhand information as well from like chat
Sure.
hoppers that are going back and forth and being like, "Oh my God, Summit just experienced this," and so
Yeah.
like that's the only way I'm getting it. So he's played a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But
Because
yeah.
that's the like all the conversations we've had about master modes, that we've had about engineering, and like FPS gameplay. I guess those are the sort of the three big ones that people have been more or less complaining about over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
To the regular gamer as a sort of like first impact mechanic, I imagine would be amazing. So that's what I want to see. Is I want to see a lot of the larger creators in whatever space you may choose see the game in 323 if it is stable. Uh,
We
yeah,
can
because
talk about
it's just
that.
so. Yeah, we've been talking about how different this the game feels in 323. So it's like you're not you're playing right now in live. You're not getting the experience you're going to get in like a week's time.
You're not, but you also might get a worse one. And
Yeah, that's yeah.
you want to get into that a little bit? I'm literally trying to get
Yep.
the Zyloh Post up
Yep.
from just randomly on Spectrum, where he basically just said
He was like
prepare.
commenting on a feedback post.
And the feedback post was like, "Yo, do not push this live game bad."
Which, to be fair, like, because I saw a lot of people talking about that. The do not push this live game bad was like from a week and a half ago. And yeah,
It's
don't.
still
A week and a half ago it was so bad. No,
it's still bad.
no. Well, yes, sorry, it is. However, and this may not be super relevant to the conversation, this is 100% a release candidate. Historically, this is a release candidate.
I didn't even jump into live today, so I don't know.
Sure.
But
Sure.
it was Friday it was out. So if this is still Friday's patch, they didn't patch last night, did they?
No.
Well, you're
No,
Australian,
just
so
Friday.
yeah.
Yeah, Saturday morning patch for me. But either way, yeah, not since then.
Okay, because I had a weird update, but I wasn't sure what it was. But I have the post now. Thanks, chat. So he basically is saying that they want to like keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
Which I do find to be a bit funny. Because that's a very like marketing thing to say.
Yeah.
But it's also understandable that that's exactly what they kind of have been doing, right? Is we've talked a lot about sorry, Croncy, I'll bring your camera up in 1 second. There you are. So they've kind of been keeping the momentum going in all sorts of different ways. I don't know if they've been keeping it going for the wider audience as much as they have been us, the community members that have been around a lot. Sorry, I have so many technical issues that are happening at this moment. I'm trying to get, I'm managing as best I can. But the first thing that you mentioned was like momentum. And I think like we've talked about it on the show a lot, that the momentum, they've been keeping it up for the people who follow the game a lot, is like there's always something new to talk about. There's always something new to be excited about that's coming up. Whereas there in previous years, there's been like straight up no communication, dead time, like garbage. This isn't fun.
Yep.
Patch is bad, and there's no communication. You know, so they've been
for
pretty
like
good
3
about
months.
that. Exactly, like for like months at a time sometimes.
Yep.
And then Zyloh says something that like I made a video about because I had no argument against it, and I said I changed my mind on this stuff, and it is live as a testing environment. And I've had an argument against that specific sentence before, but the way it's described in correlation with like, we need to get this big tech feature out of the way, which is like persistence or server meshing or whatever. When that stuff has to go in, we as a community just have to accept that like, it's not going to be a good it's not going to, the playing experience is just not going to be as good. It can't be, because the only thing they constantly point out to the fact that They don't get enough people in the PTU to test these features at scale, and if they scale broken, they break the entire game. So there we are. And I couldn't argue against that, so I changed my mind on that.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I did watch that video, and I was very interested to hear that, because like, yeah, we've talked a lot about like, no, live has to be in like XYZ state,
Yeah.
you know, over this time, but it just can't. It just can't for a while. It gets there. I feel like every patch cycle, at some point it gets there. Maybe not during like 3.18, but it's never there on initial release, and it's not going to be like that for a while. And even then, it may never be like that. We may end up in a situation where a 1.0, 2.0, whatever ends up happening, you know, for the first month or so, it's still just absolutely trash, because it's just such a weird game.
100%. And because it's not a game, and they're pointing, like, right now it's not. They're trying to make it one by getting these features out the door, and they're not even features. These foundational like pieces of the puzzle to make the game, like the whole idea is nobody thinks Star Citizen can be made. And they have to prove that it can be made. We've talked about that plenty of times. These are the things that prove that it can be made. So how fun it is doesn't matter right now. Now, and what I mean by right now is, and I don't think I've made it very clear in the video, is 323.0. Is 318.0.
Yeah.
What the first time you put the big tech in, it's going to be a mess. Fix it, and then you better be focusing on making the game fun in between now and 4.0. I am so tired of, well, we can't do X, Y, and Z until A, B, and C happen. There are tons of things that can make the game more fun, quality of life, and economy. And I'm sorry, there's no way crafting needs server meshing. There's no way better gunplay needs server meshing. There's no way that some of these things,
gunplay, sort of, but only if the server, like in very specific circumstances.
Yeah, the changes,
like the mechanic of gunplay does not need to.
The changes they made in 323.0 do not need server meshing, clearly, because they're in 323.0. That kind of stuff. So there's tons of things they can do to improve on the game experience, and they have not done that over the last decade. They just haven't, and they haven't done it enough. And that's my argument. Is I will take the concession of, I cannot play 323.0, but they need to take the concession of, it can't always be about the next thing that is the most marketable, because the thing that is the most marketable is the game being playable and fun, and they just do not recognize that ever. And a big part of that is getting the tech out the door. So that's where my head is with this. And I thought
with the exception of what you said of like, with this post and like what's happened in like the last couple of months.
Exactly. Getting it good. Getting it good and stable in order to be able to enjoy the game is the most important thing. But the second most important thing is making the freaking game, which they haven't done in 12 years. And they're finally talking about doing. So that's cool. I just thought this post was really important, and it changed my mind on things. And often when Zyloh is coming in and making a post, for whatever reason, it's like dumping gasoline on a fire. This was the opposite of that for me. This was baking soda on a grease fire that I was experiencing. So I thought it was pretty good.
Mike having a positive take on a Zyloh post is
not a common experience. It is not a common experience whatsoever.
I will touch on that just because it goes into a little bit of like the 323 going live thing. I had the most fun I've ever had in Star Citizen, maybe ever. Maybe not ever. Maybe one of the dynamic events was better. But this week, when I played just nothing but mercenary missions for, I think, a total of 14 hours across 2 days, with like one crash that recovered and then was also completely fine. And that's gotten me actually really excited for 323.0. I've already told you before, like I was excited for this because just doing old missions in new locations can be quite exciting for me. I think it's really cool. You get to, mess around with different approaches and whatnot, but actually getting to do that for an extended period of time, love it. I know the cargo gameplay doesn't exist, and that sucked, but this was just so much fun for so long. Big fan.
Why? Because we've had these for forever? Is it the change to the way the guns feel? Were AI acting better? What was it?
Yeah. So FPS. So all the FPS changes made a lot of it feel fresh, right? Because you're trying to sort of relearn some things. The AI, they've continued to make improvements to like AI performing well on bad servers. So awesome.
I got a question before you continue. Did you see any AI with snipers? I saw somebody comment something at some point where they had snipers.
I saw one. I didn't see him use it, but I saw one on one of the DCs. So I think it may be in that pool of like random gear that they can use possibly. I don't know if it's like intentional or whatnot, but yeah, they were certainly there.
Yeah, somebody
grenades
said they got one shot, and I was like, yeah,
hell yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, like these missions are exactly the same, but because this week they were reputation locked, which was a little annoying. The DC mercenary missions, but you can still do some stuff there. When you do finally unlock those, it's awesome to just smash those out because like I said, the location is also fresh. So it's different approaches to locations. Everyone has different loadouts now. So it's not like, you're always expecting the exact same, like 3 Ninetales loadouts of enemies.
Yep.
So that was a lot of fun. And I don't know, it was just cool to kind of crawl around there. And I could do that for the entire 3.23.0 for sure. I will smash out my reputation for probably just Microtech and Hearthstone. I doubt I'll bother with anywhere else, but yeah, that's my plan. I love it.
I'm not being sold on the DCs are super great yet, but
sure,
it's only just because I haven't had a good experience with them yet.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? That was my first like proper good experience, and I got to have it for 2 days in a row. So it sort of like convinced me that this will be fun for me. Obviously, yeah, the fact that all the actual new gameplay stuff, all the cargo stuff got removed means there's a whole extra element that we don't get to do. But as long as it doesn't take more than like a month and a half, I think I and anyone who's like similar to me that really enjoys that gameplay will be set for just good, fun stuff. It's like, cool, we've got all the quality of life changes that come in the patch, which is the majority of the changes, like the new UI and whatnot. But the locations and the FPS stuff will get you there.
Okay. What else have you been up to, I guess? Is it literally just been that? I mean, obviously you haven't been around, but have you...
Yeah.
We know you were just catching up on SCL. Have you seen the new Gravlev vehicle, Invictus?
Yeah,
my God. How caught up are you?
I completely forgot about that. Yeah. Oh my God, the Pulse. The Pulse.
I thought you would be excited for it. I don't know how I am just yet.
We truly did not need another Gravlev vehicle. However, I love it so much. The fact that it is so compact is fantastic. Especially love in the video, they're like, there's some vehicles you won't be able to fit in it, like an MPUV, and they show three of them fitting in an MPUV. So I think that's great. I think it looks fantastic. I love where Mirai have like started and come from aesthetically. Because really, we only have this in the Furies, and I think they've added a lot more to it. It looks awesome. So big fan of that. The stats wise, because it was in the PTU for
I was going to ask you,
I believe.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty solid.
It's the best, actually, at least for racing.
Yeah. The only issue is that it probably explodes really easily. So if you're doing any type of endurance race, you're still going to want a Dragonfly. But it's awesome. It's sick. So very excited to see what it does, especially when it actually comes in, because I also imagine a lot of those numbers will change. Because like I said, it was only in there for a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. I think they did an absolutely fantastic job. Yeah, smash out of the park.
For people who want to know the stats, it's a Nox with better Gs. It can pull better Gs, but it's a Nox. So for Gravlev Racing, it's the fastest top speed, and it can pull better Gs than the Nox. So Clio Islands we're going to get down to 27 seconds, maybe 26 now. I would
should
guess.
Theoretically, also because of its size, if you're actually doing races on like Clio Islands, should result in less collisions, I would imagine.
That's what I'm saying. I think you can get closer and hit the apex even closer than before.
Yeah.
So it could help with lap times a little bit as well from that standpoint, not just the Gs. But yeah, then they showed all the ways that you're just going to ruin the game with this thing, which is really funny. So it was a funny one. Outside outside that, it's going to be a weird Invictus. I guess we should go into that since this is pretty
Yeah.
Invictus focused. People are
Yep.
people are
Because it's
freaking out.
2 weeks away. 2 weeks away at the moment.
Polaris hype, I guess, but kind of and not really, sort of.
More than I would expect.
More than I
Any amount of
expected to.
Polaris is way more than I expect. This is crazy. So yeah, it sounds like it's just going to be a like a flyby. But it also, the way that they're talking about it, seems like it may be atmospheric flyby. Because they were talking about it
shit,
in the
okay.
skies of R Corp, but you know that's maybe reading
And they're
super
literally-
into like a specific line.
No, I don't think it. I mean, let's look at the screen here. We just had overdrive.
Yeah.
And how did the ships fly in overdrive? They flew in formation, and I'm pretty sure they flew in formation exactly like this. I remember seeing overdrive, and the formation looked very similar to this. So if you want to like huff on the copium, I mean, it's whatever, right? I don't think this changes the game or anything. It's nothing crazy. But I think theoretically you could see this in the game, and I think that would be really cool because maybe that would mean we could start seeing more NPC ships coming and going from stations as well, right? That would be really nice.
Yeah. To as well quell a lot of the rumors that I've heard from people saying that like, oh, that means they're going to sell the Polaris and stuff. Based on the monthly reports, no, it's not ready. It is 100% not ready. The interior is nowhere near done unless they manage to do it within like, they'll sell it. I mean, as in it's not going to be like it's not coming out in Invictus.
It's not going to have a sale page. It's not going to be the big hoopla, flyable now, you know, that kind of thing. They're going to sell it because these sales, they sell everything, right?
Yeah, everything military for this one, yeah.
Yeah, and then some.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Like I think the Vulture's still going to get sold probably, or like
I think everything military plus Drake because Defense Con.
Yeah.
So everything Drake. So it's really only like 7 ships that don't get sold, but
because everything's been military for the most of the time, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's still things will be for sale, but it just comes down to the only thing that I was surprised is that it was part of like the event flyby thing. But they've kind of talked about the thing being pretty far along for like months ago and then never said anything. So it was kind of like, you're doing something sneaky, I think. And then now this is the sneaky thing they did. I think some people thought it was going to release though. And I think some people still think it's going to release. You're crazy, but
the interior has not been done. That's the biggest thing. The interior is not finished. They've talked about the exterior a lot. I think they didn't talk the most recent monthly report, which was actually this week. They didn't talk about it at all.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'll bring that up as well. I actually forgot about that. There's been so much stuff.
Yeah, another week of like a lot of small things, sort of like here and there. But last monthly report, I believe, they talked about the Perseus continuing, being done with like its exterior. So, but yeah. So what I will say is, the fact that they are this confident with the Polaris and how it looks and whatnot, almost certain that it will come out during IAE at this rate. IAE is 6 months away. Yeah. So
the Zeus as well. Certainly. The Zeus are starting to polish the interior and things like that, and yeah. So
I wouldn't be surprised if they end up doing like an RSI sponsored IAE, similar to how they did the Drake sponsored IAE. I want to say 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, for like their big ticket or whatever. Yeah. You know what I'm really looking forward to?
What?
I'm really looking forward to like IAE. Do you remember, or not IAE? Well, yeah, IAE. For Invictus, what they did at IAE, which they had those little side rooms with the cargo guild and the mining guild.
The career rooms.
I'm curious if they do any more of that.
If they do for Invictus, it'll be military focused. So they'll likely just move the 777, 666, whatever, the F8 flight group. 999, I think that's them, yeah. They'll probably have like a little display for them, and maybe, there's a medical Ursa that's in this. Maybe they'll have a little medical section or something. I can definitely see that sort of stuff happening. And the Defense Con will just be Defense Con. I don't think we're going to see anything new from Drake this year, so don't imagine a lot for that.
Yep. On the other call outs are we can investigate the video a little bit. There are lots of interesting sneak peeks from that. But the one call out just from the schedule is last year it was 7 days. This year it is 5. They've condensed down things considerably. So I think I find that interesting. But yeah, they're gonna like put everybody into one bundle. Like this group is pretty. There's a lot in there.
It makes sense.
Then,
like you look at that day one, RSI are the primary military manufacturer out of those 4. Those 4 manufacturers, so they're going to be the main one there, and so on as you go. So it makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It does it is 2 weeks away, so it leads more into the question as well of now that they're advertising it, what is going to be the deal with like Xenothreat going live with 323? Especially like if they push 323 this week, does that mean we are going to see a Xenothreat before Invictus? Probably, I imagine. The timing of stuff is like now confirmed, so it's interesting.
We might not get Xenothreat at all.
Yeah, I'm thinking it may, if they do, like they'll do it at some point, but it'll probably be post Invictus now.
Yeah, given the situation they're in.
Yeah.
First Easter egg I saw is this is literally Harold. This is like the Harold meme.
The Harold meme, yeah.
Yeah, this is like actually the Harold meme, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Look at the outfit he's wearing.
Does it say cargo?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that was one thing. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But he's on like an Idris or whatever, so he like works there and he works on the cargo.
That was a station. That's the docking port of the stations.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Yep.
So I missed that. Then I think it was in this trailer. I don't know actually. Where? Oh yeah, it was probably further. There's like medical Ursa somewhere, and I'm not sure where.
Yeah, there's a guy in a medical suit walking out of the back of an Ursa. I think
right
it's
here.
right there.
So that's clearly a
almost
medical
certainly
Ursa.
medical Ursa. Yeah.
What do you think about it? My chat asked me, and I thought it made sense, and I have a lot to say about it actually.
I think it's fine. I find it weirder that it's the Ursa and not the I want to say it's called the Atlas platform, the like Spartan and Centurions and stuff. Just size wise would make more sense to me, and maybe they'll do that eventually anyway. But yeah, people have been talking about it for ages. It's definitely one of those like community driven, like here, have the thing that you want.
It's not even the here, have the thing you want. I love this. I'm you know how I feel about when they release ships and not gameplay and things like that or whatever, right? I often tend to be more negative around every ship sale imaginable. This vehicle is a direct result of the way we play the game. And the way we play the game is, or the way the game plays out, hey, turrets shoot at ships, they don't shoot at ground vehicles. So if you need to save somebody in a bunker, now you have a tool for you. So they reacted to the way we played the game and created a vehicle that made sense based off of our actions instead of the other way around of this ship can do this, that, and the other thing. And then we go, no, it doesn't. That's garbage. That's not going to work, you know, or whatever. Like there's obviously ships that come in and out of metas, but as far as gameplay related ships, yeah, you have like Rock DS. Mole had a really hard time for a while. Now it's like Reclaimer versus Vulture. Is the Vulture even, you know, like it's gone through those things. And instead of doing that, they reacted to the way the community played and gave them something they needed. They did this, I thought, really well with the Centurion, talking about the Atlas platform, right? Apparently, it's really good now because of master modes. It wasn't when it first came out, but it was a need that the players needed, and they created it, and it was awesome. Instead of telling us what we need, we told them, and they made it. And we never had to say it. It was just based off of our gameplay, and I love that. So, the only other Easter egg,
the thingy, the Argo boy, there it is.
There it is, and it's also empty. So it is the Argo from the Hull C commercial, dropping off the big cargo stuff. How will this work?
CitizenCon.
And from CitizenCon, yeah. How will it work? Probably not like the video. It's probably going to involve somebody else with a tractor beam using it as well and going from the ship to, but we'll see. It's kind of cool. But
do you think we'll get any, in addition to those 3, do you think we're getting any concepts at Invictus this year?
Of course. Of course. You think they're going to stop drawing ships and making free money? You think they're going to stop? Of all the time, like especially now, do you think they're going to
Yeah,
stop? Like Morph pointed it out in his video this morning. They are behind again, 2 years in a row, and they're behind kind of big time this time. So I think they're going to pull off all the stops and hopefully not ruin the game too much.
What has come out this year so far, ship-wise? Like the Mirai Pulse is about to come out. It's been nothing, right?
Yeah.
Concept and coming out, I think it's been nothing. The Mark II. Sure.
That was a little more than nothing.
I guess that does count, to be fair. Historically, we've had concepts early in the year. Like we've had The Expanse was like an early year concept. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. Like we've had stuff like the Cyclone MT has been like early in the year. So
theoretically, we could have a few, is what you're thinking?
We could have a few, but also that would explain a little bit of like, you know, being not as well off at the start of the year because they haven't put as many things up as they historically have.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's Invictus. Want to talk about the wipe?
Let's go into the wipe. I think I definitely have a bit to say about it. You excited or no? They're wiping money.
I want them to wipe everything.
I want them to wipe everything too.
Like everything or nothing. But then if you do nothing, you have to wipe everything next patch. Like
if you wipe the money, you have to wipe the ship. Like what is everybody doing right now? They're buying the ships at the cheaper price so they don't have to buy them later. And the reason to wipe the money is to gather data. What data are you gathering from these people then?
Well, to be fair, in regards to that at least, they haven't done many partial wipes since they changed the like wipe system like 2 years ago. It's mostly been full wipes or no wipes. So it could be in relation to that.
I hope so. That would be that's kind of what we need too, is they need to prove that they can not that they can wipe, but that they can carry over stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
But in terms of gameplay, I want them to wipe everything. So it's like, all right, cool, that might be what you're doing, but like I would be having a much better experience if everything was gone. So yeah, and it's also important to remember, even though ships won't be wiped, you will almost certainly lose ships. They haven't, as far as I'm aware, we haven't had a single successful ship wipe since they changed the system.
I mean, I have.
Sorry, ship carryover, not
yeah,
wipe,
like
you know what I mean.
My ships have carried over sometimes, but
yeah,
others in chat say they haven't. So it's like, it's clearly not been successful yet.
Which once again, that leads to like, well, yeah, they need to keep testing that until it works.
That's always been my opinion on it. But if you're gonna wipe the money, and the argument for it, or how about this? If you're gonna wipe the money and raise the ship prices, you got to wipe it all.
Yeah. It's such a fundamental change to the economy. You got to restart.
See how it works. See what people are able to afford, and see if your pricing change actually makes sense. Because they can write it on paper, and we've seen them think that their design is great, and then deliver something that clearly is not. Structural salvage. Somebody decided that was a good idea, and the issue there is how is it gonna make, like, that's more of the, like, that's where 323.0 doesn't need to be as bad. That's the argument I'm making in my video. Like, we can accept the instability of things about the tech that you're adding, but there's no reason why you had to add this extra friction that doesn't make sense. And not only are you adding raising ship prices without fixing the economy, but you're fixing the economy, taking all of our money away and raising ship prices. And it's just like, the only data they're going to gather, I saw it from somebody in Twitch chat, is how people make money. They will gather that data. But if people aren't incentivized to make it because they already have all the ships that they purchased with the money, then are you actually gathering valuable data? And I would
Yeah,
say no.
it's imperfect. It's
Yep.
imperfect. Like for someone who traditionally only buys a starter pack, which we always recommend you only ever buy a starter pack. Don't hate me, CIG. Uh,
They do too.
they've been making so much money over the course of the last 9 months, I think, since like the last ish wipe. And like they've been doing it with missions and mechanics that have been inherently bugged or exploitable. And so if they just have if you want to find out how that player is going to make money, you can't do it when they have everything, because they're going to be making money in way different ways.
Yeah.
So
And then the other argument around that is the way they decided to make this choice is it makes it look like you're trying to push people to the pledge store. I don't believe that's the case in this scenario, but people are making that
yeah,
argument. I don't believe that, but it looks that way. You raise the ship prices, but you're not giving players the tools to work together to buy a huge ship. 55 million credits. Okay, well then one guy gets that ship and nobody else gets to use it unless that one guy is on, right? So they're not giving the tools for it to make sense, and therefore now it'll just be easier to swipe my credit card. And that's what people are going to do. And the other argument around that, and this is somebody from my Discord that changed my mind big time on this, is his argument was, I earned the Prospector 4 times in game already.
Yeah.
I don't want to earn it again, so I'm going to buy it. And that's
sure,
basically
but
what they said is like, I've earned it 3 times. I don't want to earn it a 4th. So are people going to be burned out by that experience if they wipe again here? It doesn't matter, but it's one of those things where people are getting tired of doing it, and it again forces players to the pledge store. So it's like these knock-on effects that shouldn't result in you going to the pledge store because it's an alpha, they're making the game. It does, and it makes them look bad even though it's not their intention, is how I see it.
I don't like that argument from a couple of standings. One is like it's not wrong. Like a person can 100% be upset because of that reason.
Of course.
But I don't see it as a reason like to not do wipes, or even a reason from CIG to be incentivized to do wipes, because that's not really what's happening. Like
I'm parroting, by the way. Like, it's not my
that's fine. That's fine.
That's fine. Okay.
I've heard people echo essentially what you've said.
Exactly.
And so it's like, so in the last 4 years, I think we've had wipes. So we've had patches without wipes for like the last 4 years ish. There's only been a handful of wipes. First off, so like the I've had to re-earn it again. It's like you haven't had to re-earn it again that many times in comparison to every other game that's ever had wipes. You know what I mean? And even in those early situations, it was still so easy to make money that I don't really see it as a relevant enough excuse for CIG to be like, here, they'll just spend money if we do this.
Can I jump in for literally one sentence? Sure. It was easy to make money, but it still isn't necessarily fun to make money. It's very repetitive, and you go to the same bunker, for example, over and over again, like things like that. And I think people, because, and we'll get into SCL, like the lack of cohesion in the game or the lack of solid game, I think it hurts. The grinding is fun in video games. It can be.
Yeah.
Is it in this one? And that's where I stop.
Okay. So with that in mind, like that's once again, that goes towards like, they're not wrong about it not being enjoyable. I'm more saying like, I don't think that it's enough for the implication that CIG would do it because of the incentive of people buying ships, I don't think is necessarily cohesive enough. It would make sense to me if they were wiping ships literally every patch. Then I'd be like, yes, you're actually onto something. If every 3 months you had to do it, 100%. That would be an incentive for them.
And I think the argument that the player was making of like, I've earned the Prospector a bunch of times, I'm just going to buy it. It was more during that time where we were wiping all the time. and they've been pretty
Sure.
good about leaving your ships on for a while. So that's why I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
just do it, dude. Just bite the bullet, rip it off, rip the
Yep.
band-aid off. Who cares? But maybe don't wipe anything in 3.23.0.
Mm.
Get through the instability, and then .1, .2,
Mhm.
whenever that's when you do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how
That
I
that
feel.
that that I'm for sure with that, especially because that does like it's essentially going to be almost the same game for everyone with the money wipe. If you've spent the last year playing the game, it's going to still feel exactly the same because
Mhm.
there's not really going to be stuff for you to grind for you to get. So,
Yep.
one of the takes that I did hear as well as one of the reasons why they aren't wiping everything is it's possible the overdrive progress might be tied to one of those aspects. My answer to that is Overdrive has been so chaotic and so bad anyway that CRG really just need to give everyone the prize when it comes up to it in like a couple weeks time. But that's more tied to other issues, I guess. So yeah, that could be one of the incentives for him.
Or at least like the last mission. Like go do the
Yeah,
last mission. You got to do something to earn it, but to go through the entire process, I hope mine is still there, but we'll see.
yeah.
So I think that kind of covers the wipe. I don't have much more I want to say on it. Do you?
I just want to confirm it's not. Reputation is also not being wiped, right?
Okay, it's hard to confirm what it is,
Yeah.
but because the guy on SCL goes, well, I think we're wiping money and rental ships, I believe. So he wasn't even like
Right.
super solid, but money was like pretty. He was very clear
Okay.
about that, and
Because
nobody
that would
really
be my
argued against
biggest
it.
thing is I would love if rep got wiped as well. Because now
Same.
because so many of the missions at the new locations are tied to rep, actually getting to unlock those again, like for at least for me, would be a lot of fun. And if I'm instead just going to get into there and have all of the missions already unlocked, I don't know. It's just a little bit less of something to strive for during the patch.
True. True. Um, what else happened? SCL. Or
Yeah.
do you want to do like monthly report stuff before we jump into SCL? Because SCL is probably the big end cap of the week.
Yeah,
Did,
yeah. Let's do some monthly report.
does anything stick out to you that you would want to start with?
Oh,
I'll let you go first. Or do you want me to go first because you're scrolling through right now?
please, you go first. I did read the monthly report,
But it was a
but
few
I
days
only
ago.
got
Yeah.
like back home on like Wednesdays, and then I got sick. So I've been trying to like get back on everything.
No worries. I'll lean on a small one first, and that'll give you time to
Hmm.
kind of look for something more topical, conversational. Uh, somebody in chat that because Summit actually rated me today, and it was so a lot of people came that are not on the beat with Star Citizen, and somebody asked the question of like, is there going to be hacking gameplay? Because we were showing engineering to them
Hmm.
because that was something he didn't really show anybody yet. So I wanted to try to show his community something about the game that maybe they hadn't seen, and maybe because the Anvil Legionnaire is being worked on. This is the only ship that is like a hacking ship, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And they've talked about it the last 2 months as being worked on. Do you think this will come with some level of gameplay? Because the weird thing here is that they are talking about gameplay with it, but they want to improve its usability when boarding. The main thing that this ship does is board other ships, and their thought process here, instead of hacking doors open or mentioning any of that, is the devs are currently exploring options for collapsible cover built into the boarding tunnel, which is also very cool, obviously.
Hmm.
But do we think they're going to do any additional stuff other than disable the ship, stop it from spinning, board the ship?
If they the fact that it's white box complete makes me think it's going to release in the next 9 to 12 months, and because of that, no, I don't think it'll release with anything else than that. It's just going to be essentially you will be able to force open like a docking collar. I think
Yeah.
that's going to be it.
Yeah, that's my
With
guess as
maybe some
well.
intentions later on, which I think for an initial release will be fine because there's not much else that we would need for it to be like enjoyable right off the bat.
Mhm.
And I'd like them to take more time in actually figuring out how hacking is going. I will say though, the rest of that sentence, or really the rest of that paragraph, does make me think that it's still got a long way to go. like of just that paragraph in
Yeah.
terms of that gameplay. So I could be way off the bat. Maybe we'll see a bunch of stuff about it. We still don't know where a lot of the squadron teams are going after all of these features have been implemented into 323. I would imagine hacking is going to be one of those features. So it could be a little bit further along than maybe I know, but yeah.
I'm surprised hacking isn't a part of Squadron 42. I will say that.
It probably is, but it's almost certainly going to be like a static mechanic type thing. Like whatever hacking ends up being, we'll probably have to have some level of procedural generation or whatever.
Or some random dude in a cutscene is doing it, and then you board
Exactly,
the ship.
yeah. Or it's like literally in Squadron, you can make it like a quick time event or something. You know what I mean? Like it'll be something scripted. So, and that'll be fine. It'll still probably be fun. But for Star Citizen, you can't do that, obviously, because you're going to want to do things like this multiple times a day, right?
Tactile gameplay, baby. That's what we want.
Exactly, yeah.
Then the other paragraph here, or sentence, is Elsewhere Resource Network work was finished for 10 ships, while legacy updates were made to 3 additional ships to support, paint, whatever. Yeah. I love paint, but still, I wonder what those are, because that'll be an Invictus thing as well. That's hint at something coming to Invictus, is my assumption. But, and that's probably Argo Cargo.
Probably.
Right there, for sure. But 10 ships. We currently have 2. And that's one of the things that it's like, all right, man, the A2 is not a fun ship to board. So I'm really curious what they bring in on that front, for sure.
Almost certain it's going to follow how like master modes worked with experimental modes, where it's going to be, we started off with like just the Gladius, and then, next iteration we'll have more of those 10 ships. I imagine it'll be...
I want to see the Inferno. I want to see capital busting ships in the mode that you're busting capitals. That's how you test this, right?
Well, I don't think the Inferno itself would have much resource networking though.
No, but it doesn't matter.
Seeing that ship in the mode would be great.
Yes, but sorry. I think they're talking more about resource network in that, and that's why you said that. Obviously, do you think they're going to sell this?
I don't think they'll ever sell it, but like
it'll
give it to us as something. Yeah.
It's gonna be.
Do you think it's gonna be operatable?
I hope so. It's so
because we know it's at least a prop.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be at the event, like moving around. That would be my Easter egg that I want.
Sick.
Out of all the things that I'm looking for at IAE or Invictus, is this.
Invictus,
this moving around, cleaning up.
There's your room.
Bottles.
One room off to the side where it's just one of those constantly cleaning up garbage in a circle.
Yeah. We made a meme, let's sell it. No, that's not them saying it. They made a meme not intending to sell it, and we're saying, what are you doing? We all want to buy it. Fucking sell this thing, you dummies. We're getting pissed about the F8C. Sell me this. What's wrong with you?
That's what I said like weeks ago. The one thing that makes me realize that CRG aren't 100% greed is they didn't sell that. And there's no way that they would have sold that for sure.
I hope they agreed on that one though, for sure.
Hopefully.
Anything?
A lot of the lot of the monthly report is just 323, and that makes sense. So we're about to see it, right? Not all of it.
You got life support, gas propagation. You're starting to see that in the engineering mode in 323 just a little bit. They're setting up for it. Spectator mode for Arena Commander coming. Very, very important.
Very important, especially now that we've got private lobbies.
Reputation-based hostility. SCL kind of made us feel like we shouldn't bother with that too much.
Well, I mean, I will say I was happy to actually see some reputation-based hostility work this week on 323, which was cool. If any of you have seen, oh my god, a javelin popped up to like fight people, that's reputation-based hostility right there. That is what that is. So it's doing something, and it's kind of fun, but it doesn't have like a lot of actual practical use.
Watch SCL.
Okay.
It'll change your mind. It's not in. Yeah. So that's something else, I think.
Right.
It's more, the only thing that's really there is when you go to a Duster's controlled zone, that they're neutral to you. And if you do something bad, they react. They move off of neutral. Is basically what they said. And that it needs a lot more stuff to be a thing. So they're like they basically oversold this one, I think, a little bit, and whatever.
The summary that I have leads me to believe that I was right, however, I will just say. So it says, reputation hostility system did not undergo significant changes during testing. Instead, it serves as a foundation for future implementations in 4.0 and beyond. The system allows players to gain reputation with factions, which can lead to alliances and aid when under attack.
That's
or
the
even
intention.
the contrary with the factions attacking you on site.
That's the
and
intention.
that happens in 323.
That happens in...
That happens in 323.
That happened in 315.
Did it?
Yeah. Like, what are you experiencing that you're...
So when you go to do like a bounty, or like specifically like ship stuff, so you go to do a bounty or really just fight any reds around, NPC ships will rock up. No.
That's existed for a long time. Yep.
No.
Oh yeah, 100%. If you struggle with an NPC bounty, I'm telling you, you just haven't struggled with an NPC bounty. Chat, like, please come to my defense here, because I know I'm 100% right. Is if you struggle with an NPC bounty, security will show up and help you. It either doesn't work because the game doesn't work, or you've killed them quickly because they stand there and do nothing.
Mike's gaslighting me.
I'm not. I'm literally not.
This is not a thing.
Because there were patches where I couldn't hit the ship, and eventually, I'll never forget this because the AI showed up to help me, and it was so fucking embarrassing. And I will never forget that embarrassment. Okay? So trust me, I'm right on this one. I am so embarrassed that I will never forget that moment. Okay.
Guess I've killed all my bounties, Mike.
Yeah, you're just better. It's okay. That's all it is. But trust me, it's a thing. And
I believe you. I believe you.
And I think they oversold this one a little bit. But it is so important, and it still will be. And they shared how important it will be, and all that stuff. It just isn't there yet.
Okay.
Big thing. My PP is hard for this one. The technical requirements for crafting were scoped out with design, and room system documentation was updated to enable other teams to implement their work, better implement their work.
Sweet. We're still going to say it for a couple of years, but it means that they are saying to other teams, we have this in mind, so make sure you guys have this in mind when you're creating XYZ.
Yeah. How about this? This was kind of cool.
That is cool. I've heard people saying that you can already get these in 323, depending on where you buy some specific cargoes. So at least some of these assets may already be in.
Cool. I haven't seen it yet, so that's neat. I'll try.
Neither have I. That was pure secondhand stuff. So
that's cool. And then freight elevator stuff, we can ignore that because yeah. And then the only other thing was I found this to be incredibly funny because I saw a lot of people getting excited about this on Twitter. Did you read this yet?
Isn't it just like, here is the flavor for what the missions are, essentially?
Yeah, and it's 2 paragraphs that say, so you're going to pick up cargo from here and drop it off over there. And I was like, oh, so a cargo mission. Okay. Why is this so long? It doesn't say anything of detail at all. It's like, all right, you're going to bring cargo from here and you're going to bring it to there. But then they like said quanta controlled system at the end, and everyone was like, and it's like, come on, guys, come on.
Tony's back, guys. Tony's back.
Yeah, like my whole chat was spamming the Tony emote. And it's like, calm down, dude. There's no chance. There's no chance. But yeah, I mean, but the thing about that is this is what we want, at least what I want. I don't want to speak for anyone else. I just want to move cargo from one place to another. It doesn't have to be too crazy. The last monthly report, I think they gave more interesting details. That's basically what I'm pointing out.
Like this is essentially like you will be doing cargo. The things you will have to care about is your route, the size, and the weight, which cool. Those are the literal 3 things that I want to care about when I'm doing cargo. Yep.
So I'm glad they wrote what I will say is I'm glad they wrote a write-up that wasn't overly complicated. And it wasn't like, not simple to get into, and that's it. Yeah. That's all I got from the monthly report, because I don't look at any of the R&D. I don't give a shit about any of that kind of stuff.
I try to read it. CIG, I need you to understand.
Like,
I do not know
we don't make games.
how to like. I don't know how to like reform an Excel spreadsheet properly. All right, CIG. If you can like every time we get into those engine sections, it's always like really cool things are happening, and I do not understand a single thing about them. Just give me like this will increase your game performance. This will increase server performance. This will increase like FPS, whatever it is. The really, really basic stuff. Please, please.
It is one of the biggest problems with the way CIG communicates to their backers is they think we care about game development. As a whole, majority...
Some backers do think they care about game development.
Some do, but most don't. Right?
Yeah.
And you have to understand what your audience is. There's no way I'm wrong that most people bought a video game. And all they care about is video game done yet? No? Okay, let me know when you're done. Or is video game fun yet? Okay, let me know when it's fun. Or it's fun right now. Let me spread the religion around to everyone around me, because those are basically the three types that we have in this community. But the idea of like it being anything other than hey, let me know if this helps out with my performance or not. Just I don't need a degree to I don't care. I just skip over it. I don't care.
Yeah. It's also so jarring
you're not
going
care
from
either.
like it's so jarring going from like, here is a new ship. We have made progress on it. We might add a gun or two. So anyway, the cheesecake cider system that we implemented has extra axioms. What is going on?
Yeah, like who cares? I do not. I'm sorry, but some people do, and it's there for them.
Yeah.
And I just skip it, and that's fine. And I don't need to explain why I skip it. It's because I'm a stupid person, and I just leave it at that. It's pretty simple.
Also, CIG, if you start to make the cheesecake cider system, I will take my royalties. Thank you.
SCL, you want to talk about now? This was pretty solid.
Yeah. I have my summary up. I'm ready.
I sort of don't have a summary because I can't see it because I have to. I'm going to show the screen for now. So I just think you have, like, in my mind, these are the three horsemen now. These are the. It
was Rich and who?
This is Rich. This guy's name is Rick, I think. We've never seen him before. Yeah. And this is Johnny Jasivius, who used to be who Zach is now, like the gun guy. And now he's like the game guy, too. So he's like taking a much bigger role. It's like big Todd Pappy, new Todd Pappy, assistant to new Todd Pappy, and the brains behind everything.
Right.
Kind of is what it seems like. Or like the tech guy.
Yeah.
And they're saying a lot of good stuff. They're saying things that are music to my ears. But you know what? It's been 12 years, and I've heard a lot of fucking music.
Yeah, I was going to say, music 2 years is a little sus, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach says, Rick Porter, he's the design director. Okay, so he's not the tech guy. He oversees the fun part, like the design of the game, I think.
Yeah.
So that's like big deal.
Johnny is the assistant design director.
I don't know. I feel like I'm putting him down by calling him assistant. Like
no, he is.
It's not. Okay,
he is the assistant design director. Yeah.
Yeah. Like super meaningful position, super important guy. I don't want to make it sound bad, obviously. But yeah, these three guys on top of for me at least personally, the other developers that seem really passionate and care about their job and are always like going about it super hard. These are the three. These are our only hope. Because these guys have to be the ones who stand up to the actors or actions that are happening to the game, actively making it worse. Or not making it as good as it can be. And they are talking like that's what they want to do. Are they going to achieve that goal? I don't know.
So you're very positive about what they
say,
sort of see the game becoming.
Not what they their thought process about where the game is now versus what they want to do with it to take it where it ends up in. Like, I guess a lot of 1.0 is going to be their discussions over the next couple of years. So their thought process of what it is going to take to make a 1.0 or their thought process on how they handle the game's development sounds entirely different than what we've dealt with for 12 years. Will they actually make action on that is hard to say. One of the big things I would say that people hung on to here is Rich took full responsibility for 323 being a bit of a shit show because he wanted to get all of the Squadron 42, well, not all, but as many of the Squadron 42 features out into our hands as possible so they can stop making Squadron 42 and make Star Citizen. And how can you argue again? Like, again, if I can't argue against what you're saying, I'm agreeing with it. How can I argue against that? Just do it. That's it for me, is just do it. That was one thing that stuck out. The other thing you said, if we give you 4 months to do it, it's going to take 4 months. And in regards to that, so he basically said, do it. Like, go, get it out. I don't care what it takes, get it out, because it needs to happen. In the past, I don't think that was the case with many things. I think it was do what you can. And if it doesn't make it, it doesn't make it.
At least not as much of a priority.
Exactly. This company has talked about how they don't want to force developers to crunch or anything like that. I'm not telling them that they should. I'm not sure Rich is. I'm assuming he's not. I'm definitely not going to put words in his mouth there.
I don't think they are. In fact, they're quite saying the opposite, right?
Well, they're working on the weekends. Like, we definitely know that for sure right now. So there's a bit of crunch. But I think this studio apparently is better than like some of the real bad actors. And
stuff.
So I'm no proponent of that, obviously. Nobody should be. But I think he's cracking the whip a little bit. That's what it feels like.
Okay.
And that's what I take from the episode.
At least in terms of priorities. Like I'm reading through some of the summary right now, and it sounds like the priorities they have are very close to what most people that play the game want. And I say most because the last couple of months has shown me that a lot of people don't want some of the mechanics in the game. But in general, like things like the economy they apparently touched on, talking about manufacturing quality and stuff.
Yeah, I think they're just echoing, like, they really were just echoing what the economy guys had spoken about, like with their thought process around the pricing choices. So they basically just said, we fixed the prices of armor, we fixed the prices of weapons, and we fixed the prices of ships, and this is why. It was not a super new or engaging comment, I don't think. It just comes down to when we use those materials to actually craft those things and so on. Like, I don't think, I'm sorry, if I die in FPS, it's still going to cost me nearly nothing to replace my stuff because you have 100K credit missions. Salvage is still very, 15K per box. Like, the risk versus reward balance still doesn't exist when it comes to your character dying, and you do not, like, though I will say the one thing that Rich was saying was that prepare your tits, essentially. When your ship explodes, it's gonna cost you, and I don't know when. And they've been pushing for this a while. That's one I still fight back on. I don't know when the right time for that is.
Sure.
I know it's not 323.0.
Yeah, no.
I know it's not when 4.0 is unstable.
I mean, do you remember? Oh man, like 2-3 years ago now, I think. Maybe my time might be skewed. Do you remember when they increased claim timers on like all ships?
Yep, and everybody lost their mind.
Oh, the reception to that was insane. It was crazy, and it made sense because you would die every 30 minutes. Yeah.
Not only would you die, but how many times would you go to your ASOP terminal and it would say claim instead of where it should be?
Like,
and we
exactly.
And that's my only issue is we still have that experience now. So it's hard for me to go, all right, I agree. But what I will always agree is there's the other end of the coin where you never care if you maintain your ship. You never care if your ship explodes. You never care if you die. So they got to do something at some point. So if they do it, they do it. I'm not going to complain about it. I just don't think it's the best choice. And I wouldn't argue against somebody who was upset about it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where I was like, look, this needed to happen, but yeah, it sucks, man. Rough. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, the fact that they still have that in mind is always good.
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, it's gonna be a rough, like, it's gonna be a great answer the call that week when that happens. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Was there
Um,
anything else specifically in
I,
the
I'm
SCL?
grabbing my list now. So we had
Right.
um let's see. Oh, there's going to be potentially a horde mode in Arena Commander FPS to test
Oh,
new
sweet.
spawn closets, which is funny because we already
Okay.
have the new spawn closets. So let's call these new spawn closets, to
Yep.
quote Linus Tech Tip stuff. We're gonna have new spawn closets in a few years, but maybe people will walk out of them this time. We'll have to see.
Okay.
So
Sweet.
in order to test that new tech, we might get a horde mode, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
sweet.
and
Be
then
good fun.
yeah, and then solo play versus pirates and stuff like that. They touched on that. Rich Tyler was very much, I mean, he's talking game stuff, and I think he's pissing the
Mm.
community off, and I love it. Is he's like, I've played MMOs solo. There's tons of solo content in MMOs, but
Yep.
not all of the content is solo. And
Yep.
that's basically the TLDR of that one. And I love that. And
Yep.
then night vision. They have night vision on FPS scopes now, and they love the way it looks. It's night vision with quotes.
Hell yeah.
They just
Sure.
like up the gamma or whatever they said and changed the color of it, and they said it looks really
Yeah.
good, and they're really happy about it. Yeah, it's light amplification.
Light amplification.
And Zach is very clear that they want to do that because maybe they want to do night vision at some point, proper. But this is what they're doing for now.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, how many missions, like, imagine Ghost Hollow at night with night vision, or sorry,
Yeah.
with light amplification would be so sweet. It'd be a fantastic experience.
Glint amplification is just to troll Zach. I don't know. We just always say glint. Anytime Zach is in chat, just say glint. And then
Can I say, I finally experienced a glint this week, and it was so fine. It
I
was
don't think
fine.
anybody's experienced it properly yet, though. What was your experience?
It was myself and a friend, essentially, like, just checking distances to see what the glint looked like.
Yeah, that's to me not
And it was
experiencing it
fine.
because you know where it is.
That's true, yeah. I guess I need to test it in a situation where I don't know that someone's trying to look at me.
Exactly. Everybody's freaking out about it, but you never experienced it properly yet. And I'm looking forward
that's
to
a-
like the first jump town. And if it's shit, they should take it out. If it's good, they should stick with it. And that's it.
Yep.
And they did talk about that.
Well,
actually.
Mike, you might not be the best test for that because you will die before you get to see the glint.
Of course. But I'm not the one who decides whether it's out or not. It's going to be the wider community. I'm not going to call for it to get removed. That's for sure. I'll let it cook for everybody and
let it do its thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it will eventually go, but that's besides the point. Outside of that, sneak peek was the cart pushing thing that we've seen forever, so it wasn't even a sneak. And that's all I really have for the week. We had a bunch of committed things on Roadmap Roundup, which are no surprise. And yeah, bunch of patches that didn't do too much.
Well, yeah, I will at the very least. Obviously, I didn't get to play the patches last weekend because I was away. But performance the end of this week felt great to me for 323. To the point where I was like, yeah, like I said at the start of the stream, it felt like a release candidate. Historically, at least. Obviously, I would still prefer it be in a better state, but historically, it felt like a release candidate. So the question really is going to be like, how do we? Because it's going to happen this week. It's going to happen before ATC, almost certainly, unless everything, goes crazy. How do you think the patch is going to release? Is replication layer split going to ruin everything?
Probably. I gotta say, I don't care. Like this is one of the first patches I just don't care. And a lot of people are like, they should delay it. They should delay it. I'm just delaying it myself. 323.0. The problem is because they're wiping money, that makes me want to play with like my Orgamates again and do salvage and all that stuff. But if we're not wiping the ships, do I still have the reason to want to do that? So for me, my thought process here is I'm going to delay the game myself, and I'm not
Mhm.
going to play that much until Cargo comes out. I will check out Invictus, of course. Every time they swap over, just check out the event, see what it looks like.
Xenothreat if it comes out, I imagine.
Xenothreat, of course, if it
Yeah,
comes.
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, which is I probably a bad idea if they do it. And then for me, it's really when Cargo comes out, that's 323.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
for me, I don't care, but how do I think it's going to go? I think it's going to be bad because I think a lot of people are pretty hyped about the game right now, and we might have another 318 experience of more people than should be excited for this game are excited for this game right now. Talk about Summit playing the game as well. That's not helping the situation as much as people might think it's a good thing. It might be like more people checking out the free fly than ever before.
It's a great thing long term. It's a terrible thing short term.
It's a great thing.
We're right on the cusp of a patch.
Here's the thing. They burn the shit out of the people testing it in the PTU. So anybody who found Star Citizen for the first time through Summit and is going to try out the game for free for the first time, that is going to help them test the game at scale. Yep. So if it's bad, it's for the right reason, and they should fix it, and then it'll be fine.
Yep.
You know,
I will say I think we're at the very least I am not at a stage that I think it's going to be like 318. I think it's going to be worse than normal. But luckily, it looks like this patch is probably going to come out midweek, which means we should be able to get like quick fixes in, or like if there's any back-end issues, should be able to get them resolved relatively quickly in comparison to patches in the past, which made me really excited when they didn't push it on Friday, which I think a lot of us were kind of expecting was at some point going to be the case.
That was a surprise and a very pleasant one.
Yes.
A very pleasant one. For sure.
So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. There's a lot of callers. We're going to keep you guys to the topics. I really want to try and do that this week. We're going to keep you guys to the topics, and we're going to keep you guys pretty short, okay? So
10 minutes? We going 10 minutes?
Maybe less.
Maybe less? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Our first caller is Vendes.
Sorry, Vendes, before we get to you. And if you want to call in to answer the call, make sure you go to discord.gg/SaltEMike. It'll be in the link of the YouTube and whatnot. Get in early every week because we always have a bunch of callers.
Yeah, we probably won't get you in today if you're watching today, just to be clear.
Sorry. Hello, Vendes. How you doing?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can. Yep. Is this the first time we've spoken, or we spoke one other time on Answer the Call, right?
The second time.
CCUs. This is the prospector guy I was talking about.
Ah, lovely.
Okay.
How about you get good and get some more prospectors? Come on, mate.
I didn't say prospector, but it's something else. Anyway, I want to focus on SCL of the topic that we have here, and I'd like to connect some dots, 2 dots to be precise. We all love reasonable takes, but it can be that 2 reasonable takes can. Yeah.
How can you love reasonable takes if you're here?
All right. Love to hear reasonable takes from CIG people. Like when they say something that makes sense to us, that is a revelation of sorts. And we have had some of those in the form of Zyloh Post and in the form of the SCL, recently SCL. But I think it's important to understand that 2 reasonable takes can be mutually exclusive.
Sure.
And they can both be reasonable, but you can't have them at the same time. And I think we are in such a spot with 323. Okay. Because what, Mike, you mentioned that, what Richard Tyra said is, if you've got 4 weeks, you'll take 4 weeks. And what he means, what the lesson learned from that is to keep time constraints tight. Focus on the minimal viable product, even if it comes at the expense of delivering a less polished product. That's the price you pay for that.
Yep.
And so keep the momentum going is not only marketing speak, it's also 100%. A nice way of saying stuff done, right? Yep. And I think it's important to just take a moment, take a step back and understand that is quite the opposite of releasing when ready. This is the opposite of give the patch the time it needs. Because doing so is saying we have unlimited time. It can take 4 weeks, it can take 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 months, doesn't matter. It releases when it's ready. And there's a component to that on the development side, because you're doing something to the developers by having this idea of releasing when ready. because this means that those teams or those developers who got the minimal product ready early cannot have any feedback on their work for all that time while this thing is still cooking on the PTU, while there's no real testing being done, or nothing really added to their product that they already delivered in that case, from their perspective.
Can I stop you there? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean more like, well, EVA was pretty polished from the moment it came in and they're not getting feedback on it, but the stuff that isn't done is preventing that from getting the feedback it needs? What did you mean by the last part?
Yeah. You have a development project with, like, let's say 15 teams working on something. And you have 12 teams who already delivered their stuff. And you have 3 teams whose stuff is not in a working state. They kind of miss the working to get it in. And then you delay everyone's work because those 3 teams are not ready if you have the model of saying it has to cook until it's done. And I think this is what we're seeing here. They are releasing stuff before it is done in some cases. Which, this is not to say that I like it as someone who's playing Star Citizen, on occasion at least, but I can understand that this is a model that is working, and it's the opposite of we are waiting until everything is ready, because CRG have been in the past been really good at pretending that things are coming along, things are looking really good, we are about to do this and do that. And I think we have to keep in mind that this patch was originally expected to be the Q1 patch. And it's going to release almost in the middle of Q2 now. And they had...
Well, I'm just going to quickly stop you there, because we've talked about this on the pod before. If it releases before Invictus, that is not uncommon for this first patch of the year.
Right.
That's the only thing I'll say, but continue.
Yeah, that is true. But they were talking about releasing Pyro by the end of summer, and we're not getting Pyro by the end of summer, right? And even if the reason now is Invictus, even if the reason is a bad reason, even is in the form of a sale, you can say it's a bad reason, it's still correct to release the patch because the patch has to get out.
Yes, but what features...
In order for the rest to move on.
What features for you are coming in unpolished at the like, I'm assuming distribution centers, or?
I think the worst for me personally, the worst feature that is coming unpolished is master modes. Not because I don't like master modes, I do like master modes, but the problem is that Yogi and his team didn't have the time to polish. Yeah, they had to rush, and so a lot of ships, especially non-combat ships, are stuck in an archetype mode. Like, one ship that I love is the 400i, and it used to have stats that kind of reflected that it only had 2 guns, but it was fast, so it has an identity based on certain stats, based on the lore, based on... Yeah, it had an own identity as a ship. Being like the fast ship that can't really do anything, but it's fast. And now it's in a state where it has the exact speed as the Corsair, but it has like 1/6 or 1/5 of its DPS. So it's a Corsair with no guns, or almost no guns, and it lost its identity in the process because it's no longer a fast ship. It's slower than various other ships that it used to be faster than, because all the Connie-sized ships didn't make it past archetype stage. Other ships made it past archetype stage, but not those.
I'm agreeing with you.
And that's a problem.
I'm agreeing with you, and if you see me laughing, it's because chat is cooking you for liking an Origin ship, and I'm just laughing.
Yeah, I don't care.
No, I love the 400i. Get out of here. 400i's good.
I'm not laughing at your comments or anything. I'm just laughing at chat cooking you. It's the usual Discord subjects, by the way, Vendes. My bad.
I mean, it was a pretty terrible ship before, but now it's literally nothing anymore, right? And that sucks.
You're not wrong, really. But I will just say, I don't think that necessarily contradicts what they may have said. Like, master modes is a weird little bit of an exception because it's such a fundamental change to the game. It is the kind of mechanic that needs to be in the game sooner rather than later, or the amount of complaints that we've seen over the last couple of months, whether they're valid or not, would become tenfold in a year's time when they introduce master modes.
I don't
you know
think
what I mean?
Vendes is
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's wrong to do this.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
saying
he's
that it
not.
negatively affects my game experience
And I'm
because
saying
it makes it worse.
it would have more negatively affected the gaming experience in a year's time. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
Probably, yeah.
I think it is much better for that to be in earlier rather than later.
Yeah, and that's their argument. They said it on SCL too. Is like they consider master modes as important to test at scale than they do as they do replication layer. And I thought that was interesting, and I think that they're probably right there. And I don't know what is happening on the forums because I'm sorry, but 800 upvotes on a post, I don't know what to think about that because that usually doesn't happen, even in the most, like when developers say, I'm going to give you a free Idris, they don't get that many upvotes. So it feels brigaded, but at the same time, I don't think it's being brigaded because I think a lot of people are feeling the way Vendes is and going, yeah, this doesn't feel right. And it is negatively affecting my experience. So I think it's probably more what Vendes is saying is like, yo, the ship I used to like sucks. This is bullshit. And go from there. But Vendes, I would say we're coming up on time for you. So is there any final little 30 seconds that you would want to say?
No, I think I've brought across what mattered to me in this case. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers, Vendes.
Appreciate it, man.
You coming on.
Yeah. Vendes is a regular in my Discord and is when talking to him in voice, it is much more clear the point he's trying to make. Me and Vendes get into battles, and I don't think we battle on anything probably. But all right, next.
I do love. I'm getting chapters ready for when we release this to thing, and it just says at an hour and 12, Vendes reasonable takes.
Well, Testatastic is next. Do you have any reasonable takes?
I think I have a couple.
All
quick
right.
thing. Can you guys pull me from the green room? I'm on my phone and I want to swap to my computer.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. I'll disconnect 1 second.
No problem. Bam, done.
There we go. Hello.
Sorry, I know mobile to like desktop is weird sometimes with some of these channel rules.
I don't. Your phone sounded better than your computer does.
Oh no! Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, no, some of the takes, I agree with your video, Mike, on the 323, sort of, we need to get this out the door. I think any major tech patches like replication layer or future patches we're going to have, like static server meshing, we're going to see issues that aren't going to be in PTU or EP2 or that very rarely pop up because there's a big difference between a couple thousand concurrency versus 100,000 when like, oh, I could go play Pyro right now. I've been waiting for this for 3-4 years to play Pyro. Some of those patches I can definitely agree the 0.0 is gonna suck and it's gonna be fine. But if it's another patch where it's like, okay, we're doing minor cargo or new additions, those should be more stable at the .0. But yeah, I think we can have a parallel opinion on both of those topics.
Would you not agree that historically, at least within the last few years, they have been that way? Like 319, 320, 321 were significantly more stable than 318, obviously, but the dottos for those were pretty solid.
Yeah. No, I think they have been getting a lot better, and I think we have to recognize some of these patches are a little more special because they are heavy backbone tech updates.
And that was the point I was trying to make. Is I think we sometimes have to just make the concession that the game is still in development, but what they need to make the concession on is we want a game.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Honestly, I feel like they want the game too this year. I feel like for the first time this year, like they are putting a buzz to their fire. They're getting a lot of stuff out. It's the tech preview channels, like focusing on Arena Commander for like actually testing after like even they said years. It feels like they've ignored it. I feel like there's been a big shift.
Even the engineering thing, I think it's really trying to show the thought process going forward of no more giant ship explosions all the time. You know, the ability to keep yourself going, and if you're smart, stuff like that.
Yeah. Speaking of Arena Commander, I think you guys missed it. They talked about on SCL, Arena Commander streaming tech is in, so you can now essentially have like a quarter of a moon to do like I know Copium, Theaters of War, or even larger scale like Combined Arm events. that's now a possible thing. That I think that's going to be really cool. Do more tests in the future to see what they do. Obviously, I know they have some. I think they said some focus is shifting away from Arena Commander. We'll see how that is.
Yeah, so the last couple of months, Arena Commander has come up a lot in the monthly report. We've talked about it a lot because myself and Mike love it, as well as Duncan is in literally everyone's chat all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Hard not to talk about it. The two things, the streaming in thing, I believe the reason that that's really good, at least the way that they sort of communicated it, is it would be much easier for them to get like maps from inside the game into Arena Commander, like super quickly, as well as like much larger maps. I think it just opens up a lot more options for them.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, which I do want to hear from you, Mike, they talked, I think it was end of last year, maybe it was start of this year. I don't remember a lot of things. What is it, Mania? Crazy. The focus away, like the Arena Commander team going to like other locations, and yet we keep on getting all of these new Arena Commander things.
Yeah.
A lot. So maybe are you less doom and gloom about when we had heard about that than you are now, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think so, because I was doom and gloom assuming engineering mode was dead when that happened,
Right.
and it wasn't. And but I do still think that we're getting what's left over from what they were working on, and I don't think. But now they're talking about maybe going to the horde mode. I think what they originally thought was like, yo, we need these guys. We need developers working on Star Citizen, so we're going to pull these guys from Arena Commander. But what they're realizing is, I think all the FPS updates came from Arena Commander. They didn't come from the game very much. A lot of them came from gun rush experiences and so on and so forth. The Master Modes changes all came from Arena Commander, probably at the detriment of the PU experience at the moment. Right now, PU ships and PU experiences will be resolved through PU feedback. The engineering stuff all in Arena Commander. So I think they're starting to realize that it's a tool they can use, but I don't think they're going to make it the game that I wanted it to be, which is, hey, where's the rewards for playing Arena Commander? Where is there a day where I just play it? That kind of thing. Probably not, but
yeah, I think we're going to get more shift to more test focus. Because stuff like Gun Rush is a game mode you can play. Just it's a fun mode. But some of the other ones definitely do feel like this is a testing ground, and it's not as fun as it should be, because obviously they're working on it.
Yeah. The game playability or the fun factor is not a factor in it.
Yeah, not yet. It's in progress
for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's about it for me.
Okay. That's good. Easy. You don't have to make something up. You don't have to fill all the 10 minutes. That just gives us an opportunity to get somebody else in.
Yeah, let someone else hop in.
Appreciate it, Testa. We'll talk to you soon,
Testa.
man.
All right, have a good day, guys. Bye.
Bye now.
You too.
All right, that was a good call. And again, I'm glad. Yeah, you don't have to fill all the time. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
All right, we'll bring in our next caller. It's WarBot. I will bring him in now. There we go.
WarBot, how you doing?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's left of it? So one thing is, I actually do want to talk a little bit about the engineering and a little tie in SCL and how they're scheduling all these updates and their thinking process.
Sure.
First of all, I heard the word crafting only once, and I was like, well, that was my highlight of the day.
Yeah, same.
We only need little crumbs.
I was like, is there crafting finally?
You just need to say it.
Yeah, but it is a soft confirmation we might be crafting ships. So yay for that.
Yeah.
The one thing I do want to go about is that I think it does make sense that the Legionnaire is being worked on now with resource network. Because hacking is technically tied to resource network. You're supposed to be hacking the doors. Because I actually realized it when
I didn't even think about that.
Because I just realized when I was watching SaltEMike unable to open the doors in the A2 when he was an engineer, I was like, wait a minute. So we can probably get a very reduced version of hacking with no countermeasures versus versus like actual like hacking AI. They could probably just have like a button for now, like what they did the Antares, and just say, "Hey, go ahead and take control of the door."
Do you know they
this
did that?
door and these doors? They did.
They did.
Oh.
The next patch.
Oh, yep. There we go then.
Yeah, man.
So
now it says out of power. Like it'll say, there'll be something on the panel, and then you press the button, and it'll say no power, but the door will open. So like on the screen right now, I'm stuck. This is from the old video, and then what I'll do is during your call, I will bring up today's stream and do my best to find the part where the door's open now, so you could see it as well, and others can. That may not have been aware of that change, but yeah, it's in. So what it takes now is, and this is my biggest frustration with this game currently, is it takes me streaming to get some fixes. And that's kind of can be frustrating at times. Is the fixes come when the developer sees it, and there's some disconnect between the issue council and the actual experience functioning and working. Sadly,
yeah.
But yeah, I'll leave it up. I'll leave it up, and eventually, I think we'll see it. I'll try to get there. And I'm not shooting my own horn or anything that streamers fix these things. It is a way more palatable way to find a bug watching somebody experiencing it, and they could probably figure out the solution to the problem of that bug when they get there. Oh,
but yeah, you bring up a good point, WarBot,
funny
of
bug
like,
today.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like an initial release hacking does literally just involve the resource network in some capacity. And it just allows you shut down engines, shut down shields, open doors, very, very basic things. We've talked about before, I'd be very surprised if things like engineering, especially like, this
here we go, by the way, guys,
active development. I'd be very surprised if that doesn't involve future proofing for those sort of mechanics.
Just as you guys are watching and discussing, just take a peek at the second and third door. They will be red, and that's what you'll see. And you could just click them and open them, and it's like manually overriding it. So that's how it works.
All right.
Pretty simple stuff, but yeah. But they've been really great about feedback on that mode and addressing it very quickly, and that is super promising and super exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like, okay, that I can see the Legionnaire, making its way in finally.
Yeah.
And it does tie in with their whatever schedule they can keep anyway. What schedule they are able to keep, and this will be actually no, I won't do that yet. But I do see why they are not doing a full wipe this initial launch. It's because one, people are still having trouble with like a lot of things. Like there are still events crossing over the Xeno. The Xeno threat event is still crossing over to 223, and people are still having trouble with that. So people will still need to do that. And two, at least this will do a little bit of what Rich said earlier in SCL was at least see how people are spending on upkeep, insurance, and overall income with that. It may not be money sinks, but at least that data will be in.
Yeah.
But they definitely need to do a full wipe, in my opinion, when the cargo update comes in, because that's the second half to 23. Because that is a much bigger change to our workflow and economy.
Then why wipe now? Because
to prove that they can keep ships, Mike. Maybe. Maybe this is literally just the test wipe.
You don't want to hit.
They've done a few times.
You don't want to hit us with a wipe and then a few weeks later another one. That takes the air out of people. So that's why I said, why not just hold it until it makes sense to do it? But
like do no wipe is sort of better. But like I don't know. It'd be great to hear much more like what is your goal here for this reason for the wipe? Because I'm sure it'd be pretty reasonable other than just because.
Well, they said data gathering, but It was
Yeah,
data
but like what?
gathering
Like,
on.
let us know what data you're after.
They wanted
like,
to
even
see. They wanted to see what. Like they even mentioned purchases, I think. And it's like, but if
Right.
you mention purchases, we can make all those purchases before. So this doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense, man. So yeah, I think you're right. A little bit more clear. I think the only thing I could think of is the data on how quickly we earn money, but we don't
Mm.
earn money to watch the number go up on our accounts. We earn money to spend it, and the only thing to spend it on is ships, but you let us keep those. Doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Well, we may see like equipment and all that start going up again or changes.
they
So
said
we'll
they
see.
already balanced
And
it.
then
So I don't think the prices are that much more expensive. So I don't know. Armor went up a bit,
but this
not
is only
that much.
but this is only the first part. We have more. Maybe 3 years later.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see.
I will say
Yeah.
I don't see us not getting a wipe for cargo, because essentially the inventory system completely changes. So it's like it'd be weird if we don't get an inventory wipe. Maybe we keep our money. Maybe it's another partial wipe, just different.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the last thing is I don't know if you saw the Jump Point magazine.
Not
the
this
nurses in there.
Oh, is it?
Oh
Cool.
yeah. There's like a Brentworth ad, right?
Yeah, it's a blurred background, and I was like, that's the Ursa Nursa. Yeah. So
I'll bring it up for
pretty
chat.
much yeah. And that's another thing too. It does match up with a big sale lineup, because they now have a ship in every price category. We have the Mirai Pulse from the $30 to $45 range, Nursa for $50 to $65 range, and the Retaliator Gold Pass $150 to $200.
All they're missing is a light fighter concept incoming for Invictus.
Yeah, my suspicion is the concept ship is going to be anywhere between 70 to 145.
Yeah,
and that's actually the
Assuming we
magic
get one.
number. Yeah, that's the magic number for people spending in this game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there's a write up about the Interstellar Transport Guild as well in there.
I did see that.
So I'll be reading that.
Yeah.
But this is the ad that they were showing. You
I do love
to
that
be
it's
treated with care.
I love that it's really just like an Ursa with like a red paint job on the outside. It looks almost exactly the same.
And the they just like took the C8X and just put it inside.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, if it works, it works. Although I don't think. Yeah. I do hope to get the code blue paint if there is one for the Ursa.
All the green. Good. I'd like the green. That's always cool. They have the
green is cool.
They have the like British, like, what do you call them? Why can't I think of ambulances? A green.
Oh really?
Really? I did not know that.
They are, right? I think they are, chat. I'll be proven wrong in a second.
British.
But yeah.
Anyway. I'm not British.
You're kind of British.
Wow. Mike, you know what? Your country was kind of British a couple hundred years ago too, all right? So let's calm down.
That's true. I am also kind of British. But yeah. Do you have anything else? I don't know. I feel like we're fumbling now.
No, the last person went over a lot of the points I was hoping to make, but we're good.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, the person that was speaking about the first person, Vendes. Yeah, he went over a lot of this stuff I already. So I'd say like I just wanted to quickly just go over like so far a couple things are still on schedule, but it is disappointing though that this patch has got pushed back so far.
Yeah. It is what it is, though. I guess I feel like we're only going to get 2 patches this year, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, 2 major patches for sure.
But whenever cargo comes in, I consider that a major as well.
Sure.
All right,
cool. WarBot.
Awesome. Thank you very much, WarBot.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
No worries. Thanks for calling.
Later, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, that was WarBot, and we're going to bring on Led Williams, but I'm going to have to run to the restroom because I drank this whole jug of drink and I'm dying. So Led, you could start. I can hear you, but I got to run to the restroom real fast.
How you doing, Led?
I'm just going to get your name up there.
Fantastic. What would you like to talk about today?
I just want to say I'm really excited for EVA Tier 2, and I feel like that's not talked about enough that that alone should be a major patch, and they promised it so long ago.
Yeah, it's because it just immediately worked.
EVA should not be a. Wait, where did you go, Croncy? I minimized you. Yeah, I did. Okay.
There you
go. EVA should
I
not
was
be
joking
its
about it being a
own
major
patch.
No,
Okay.
no,
I was
know.
gonna say, but
it should have come out a year ago.
well, it wasn't ready, but it's great.
Yeah, I don't think it was ready. I was talking to someone about this on my chat actually the other day because they showed it at the end of the last online CitizenCon, and that was 2022, right? So they showed it there, and they very much said, you know, it wasn't ready at the time. It looked like it was in a pretty decent spot, but like, how many times have CIG shown us things that look in a good spot and then they're not out, right? So,
yeah, the reason I'm bringing it up is because they also, in that one, they said something similar along the lines of it'll be in this next year.
Sure, right, yeah.
And I think that's going to be a lot of what we're getting this SitCon too.
Yeah. I will say, I don't think a lot of people are talking about it mostly just because it worked. It came in, it worked.
CIG.
It's awesome. Of course, Mike comes back into complaint. But yeah, like it just works. It's great. I think it's a fantastic change to a feature. And the few times where I have had to use it in 3.23, it's been super top notch. Loved it.
Really smooth. Yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah, it does. But we just don't use it very often. You know what I mean? Like in comparison to a lot of
now
the other
that it works, we might actually have reason to do 0G like FPS combat. And if they could add some AI into missions in 0G, like with the Comare hacking and overdrive, I was so excited to be surprised by AI floating around.
Yeah.
They didn't surprise me, but you know.
that is fair. Like that anytime we do have stuff working, it does also tend to lead towards, you know, Elliot and the team making missions that sort of tie to those things. So you may be onto something there. We may end up being in those spaces a lot more. But right now, there's only a few reasons, right? Like, if you want to go put a gadget on an asteroid, you'll use EVA. If you go and do the the box missions where they're like wrecks in space, I can't remember what they're called, assuming they still exist, you'll use it there. I don't know if there's a lot of other ones. I'm not sure.
Entering and exiting security post Korea, any kind of FPS combat where you're in a panic mode trying to get out of your ship when it's soft death. All those kind of situations where I'm experiencing it and then doing the crazy, not even 360 infinite spin from Interstellar.
The 322.
Yeah, ridiculous. I'm glad that's leaving because it's nauseating and really breaks up the flow of the gameplay.
The only time I watched Summit play, as soon as I popped in, he was in prone, stood up and did the spin, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god, no way!"
Yeah. Do you guys not do that when you come off the ground? When you, like in real life, you got to put some flair into it.
It is a sim.
Simulating lightheadedness.
Yeah.
No, this patch is awesome. I'm excited about it. The arena commander changes with things like Pirate Swarm are so good. The AI feels actually scary. You can't just solo it anymore. It's pretty difficult. And I was having a lot of fun playing with the new weapons.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about the wipe incoming? Like, have you played a lot recently? Or
my god, I've been begging for a wipe for the last like 4 patches.
Anybody who cares about the game is.
Yeah.
You gotta be.
Yeah, this is the same patch that had like the duping bug and the weevil eggs and everything. Like I've had so many ships just get eaten by the game, and I was just letting it eat them. You know, if you don't claim them properly between patches, you lose ships.
Yeah.
I have like a stack of ships that I haven't had in 2 patches, and then sometimes they just randomly appear again. It's definitely time for a wipe, and the fact that they're not doing it makes me feel like the cargo patch will be a full wipe.
I hope so. I think just give it a wipe. Full proper, because
also they should communicate that better and what they're doing with it. I feel like that's been haphazard.
Well, I will say on SCL, that was one of the questions that came from chat, and we tend to get really good information when they are pre-screened questions and they have some time to think about it, and I think they kind of threw that on them and they weren't ready to answer it. So we'll see. I hope they hear the feedback of like, you should probably just do the whole thing, you know, and It'll
Which
be at
I
the
don't.
detriment
The thing is,
to some people.
I think
but
it's so soon that they won't change their mind on that, though. It's too close.
Yeah. It's this
But
week, right?
if the situation
Probably.
happens
We don't know.
again, yeah, please know that, like, if we have had an economy that's been this bad for this long, please just like, I know you
kill
want the
it.
data, but we really want to just enjoy the game as well. Please just
Yeah,
just
it
play
even
it.
just makes it so I could like use my Orson inventory again. You know, just
Yep.
not having a bunch of random stuff in there would be really helpful. And I don't want to have to load it all into a Carrick and self-destruct somewhere. Like I don't. That's a pain.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even if you put it in a box and throw it somewhere, you have to do that again the next time they carry it over because it doesn't actually disappear.
Right.
Because PES. That's the PES experience right there. That box
And it's
actually
back to the
stays.
servers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
how bad do you think the servers are going to be? I haven't been
Terrible.
playing the PTU that much, so I just
Yeah,
don't.
we were talking about it before.
Terrible.
The PTU is historically really, really good just before live, right? And so, like, I've had great experiences with with server performance in the last couple of days. Normally, you should always expect the first like week will be some version of dog shit. The question in this regard is, well, we also have this really big backend tech now with the replication layer splitting. How much is that going to affect that? So, I'm not expecting to be able to have a great experience the week after release, but I'm hoping that it's in at least a state that, like, maybe the patch was a week ago.
Okay. And from watching you guys do replication layer testing, it crashes out for like 20 minutes sometimes. Is that right?
No.
It used to. I had one crash in 2 days, and it was like a minute 30, 2 minutes.
Yeah, minute
Okay,
32
'cause in
minutes is
the-
the standard. If you're
Okay.
not
Yep.
on a planet, if you're on a
In the
planet, it might
SCL,
be a little higher.
In the SCL, they showed it, and it was like times 1300 speed. They had it in the corner as like a little disclaimer. It was like 1300
very small
times
disclaimer
speed.
for a very short period of time. I thought that was pretty fucked up, actually.
Yeah, that's why I was curious of how it feels these days because I don't know when the last time you've experienced one of those crashes.
No,
Minute
yeah,
and a
it's
half,
felt
2
good the last
minutes.
couple of days. The biggest thing is that it hasn't been frequent. Like there is a level of like reboot time that I'm willing to accept, and it heavily depends on how often I'm rebooting, right? So
Yeah.
if it's once every 2 days, bro, I'll take 20 minutes, honestly, and I'll call it a success. But yeah, if we're going a minute and a half every 30 minutes, then that's gonna tick me off, and I'm just not gonna play.
Mm.
Did you try the PTU with Xenothread in it?
No.
Those were the only PTUs I didn't try, and because it was so bad, apparently. I also
and they have
didn't.
a bunch of rewards tied to it too.
I didn't want. I want to experience the new one when it's live. I didn't want to spoil it for myself either.
Yeah.
Same. I'm excited to see the Idris, and I didn't get to go in the Idris during the Idris event. I couldn't get in the servers.
Same. Yep.
So yeah, that I'm excited about all that. But the last time I did Xenothread, it was actually unplayable.
Yeah.
I will say somebody is asking this in chat, in Twitch chat. So copying accounts to the PTU is closed. Does that mean that 323 is coming soon? That's usually what it means. But it's not coming on a Sunday. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So does
Monday
that mean it's
would be
coming
good, though.
tomorrow? That would be out of character as well, but maybe. Usually in the past, like if it came earlier in the week, they put out a patch on Monday, gave it one more day, threw out a patch, and then just shipped it live. So
yeah, we're either going to see like a couple of probably crash related patches over the course of the next couple of days, and then like probably another Friday release, or they're just going to ship it tomorrow and then just fix it as it goes.
Apparently bank holiday in the UK tomorrow. I don't think that affects anything because the people who deal with server stuff, and that's the main issue, they're in the US, and we don't have a holiday tomorrow as far as I'm aware. So I don't think that determines anything. But
fair enough.
Well, shit, it's Monday here, so they better push it now.
Wait, where are you?
I'm in Asia.
Ah, okay, fantastic.
Yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't sound Australian.
I was like, well, someone's at least on my side of the world, and I appreciate that. Anything else, LED? Otherwise, we'll probably leave it there.
The ballistic weapons pushing your ship around is super cool.
I didn't
There's
even know that
force
was a thing.
reactions in space now, and it's super cool. Flying a Fury feels very different.
You say it's cool, and then I have struggled very much in the engineering mode to get ships to stop moving.
Okay, yeah, engineering was a different experience.
Yeah.
That's super early, right? They're gonna have to balance
It doesn't
pretty much
matter.
everything about it.
It doesn't matter. If you think it's cool that ballistics move ships, which it is, I'm not saying it's not, it still has knock-on effects to the game experience. Do I need to tractor beam every ship to stop them from spinning? Maybe, but that seems a bit excessive as well. Should more ships have tractor beams on them? It goes like, how important is that to the gameplay is what I would say.
Yeah. Sorry, that quickly reminded me. There's an MPUV there's an MPUV variant coming out with a tractor beam on the front, which they had in the trailer very briefly.
You missed it. We showed it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that a modularity thing, and the MPUVs are now going to be modular, or are they just releasing more variants?
Don't know.
I'm fairly sure it's
CIG,
supposed to be a different variant, but yeah.
If it's CIG, more variants so they can make more money.
No.
Doesn't it make the MPUV super annoying then?
Why?
I mean, when's the last time you flown an MPUV?
I like them.
Yeah,
it's funny for jump town infiltrations and things. It's terrible, but it's funny.
Yeah, you're doing it because it's funny, not because it's good.
Yeah. But that's kind of what I'm saying is if they want us to use them, they need to be useful. And
well, they look like they can carry 32 SCU containers, so they might be fucking useful. So
yeah, that's how it gets there, right? Is its interactions with cargo.
Yeah, it's become a forklift for cargo ships. It seems like, so we'll see. But
because a mule doesn't work.
Well, a mule doesn't work in space.
Yeah,
that sounds like a challenge, Mike.
But yeah, so I don't know. Bring out the Raptor and everything will be fine. That's what I say. But
just make the trash cans delete things.
Exactly.
True. That as well.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, we'll probably leave it there, early day. Thanks for calling in, and hopefully we'll hear from you again soon.
Yeah, and you're right. EVA is the best thing in the patch. So you win today.
For me, at least. I know the Star Map is up there.
It is a fact.
It is certainly the least controversial and the most working thing in the patch.
Yeah. It is a fact. It is the most polished thing we got. It's awesome. So, all right, LED, be good, man.
Yep.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.
Catch you up. All right. And we're going to bring in Captain Comedy. Very regular here. Regular in Discord, regular on Twitch as well. So prepare for a clown show.
I try not to be. I'm sorry. But hello.
To be regular?
Annoying, I think.
No, I'm just saying
it is unhealthy.
My regular fans are unhealthy. That's what I'm saying. I just have fans. Sure. That's so cringe. But the people who watch my stuff regularly.
Yeah, especially that Vendes guy. Jeez.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys mentioned it earlier on about the AC spawn closets. I wanted to talk about that because it was brought up in a kind of dramatic voice from Rich that we get in these new closets, and I'm wondering if that dramatic delivery was kind of because it's going to be more than something that's just magic elevator doors open faster, or they now fly in like the TARDIS to deliver troops quickly. So I'm kind of hoping that with it being in AC, there's justification for that. So it could be. I'm just wondering if it's going to be something like ships are now delivering NPCs from outside of bases, rather than us just getting NPCs from within the bases themselves. Because at the moment, we're mostly getting them either statically popping up on land, for example, outside the Broken Caterpillar mission, or they're spawning in from these magic elevators. And it's kind of like a very closed off experience. It's always the same. There's nothing dynamic about it. it doesn't feel organic.
Yeah, the
Do you know
world
what I
doesn't
mean?
feel alive. 100%. Yeah.
Well, one of those exact things you're talking about already exists, and I want to say has existed since one of the 3.17 patches, which is reinforcements.
Yeah, but
the
it's
problem
Yes.
being it either never happens or it happens far too slow to be a thing.
Exactly.
It takes them way too long to come
but
in.
it also
Yeah.
feels still kind of first try as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was going to go into that as well, because like we've seen that for a while now in the PU, and the fact that it's never worked,
Mhm.
but we've only seen it being used in one fashion to
One
restock
ship.
the settlements.
Yeah.
And when we first got that, we were all really hyped for that, because it's like, oh, we can see so much potential just from seeing NPCs coming in from ships, because we could shoot them down from the sky. We could get that engagement in space. Does this mean they're going to man turrets and
Mhm.
all the other type of potential gameplay scenarios that we've got? But it was just ship land, NPCs stay on the ship. We don't see anything different.
Yep.
So now I'm just wondering, are we, for example, with it being AC, it's going to be a set environment. There's going to be almost like a scripted delivery. So I'm just wondering, is it going to be, for example, 3 Cutlass Blacks delivering a boatload of troops, and they come in and they're invaded? Because we've said, is this going to be like a horde mode? So we're expecting a large number of players. It might not happen, I don't know, but is
But
that
you want
does
that
this
to
mean it's going
happen.
to be able to? Yeah.
Yeah.
Does this mean they're going to be able to deliver a lot more mobs in one go? Because if it's just going to be, I don't see how Elevators is going to really give
They
like
straight up said horde mode.
exactly.
So to answer
yeah.
that
But I don't
question,
think,
yes. But they can
Yeah.
also all open the elevators all at the same time. So they can deliver a lot at once at like a security post Korea and even at some of the bunkers.
I also
Yeah.
think you're not going to see, like, the way that CIG will talk about those kinds of mechanics. If they say spawn elevators, do not expect a thing that is not an elevator to be that. You know what I mean?
For now.
They will say, like, if the thing that you're mentioning, they would say they're revamping reinforcements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you ever get the SCL opportunity to like ask the question, like once they come in, be like, does this also, like, what does this tech allow you to, does this tech allow you to go anything further than elevators? And then, maybe even ask it on the forums now. This is certainly not the place to ask the question, because we don't have the answers. But I certainly hope that if they're going to make Spawn Closets version 2, because the version 1 clearly didn't work, and I also love to hear that they're doing new Spawn Closets, because so many times the excuse was the servers. Sounds like the excuse wasn't the servers. It sounds like it was something wrong. So now they're going for the next type. But I think that's what we're going to get. I think we're going to see, and the hope is that they leave the elevator. That's what we need. Leave the elevator. But does leaving the elevator mean they can leave the ships? Does that mean that they can spawn on the? That's what we have to ask after, probably.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering, the different types. I mean, going back
we want
to
what
that,
you want, though. Obviously, we want what you want.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about the kind of the ship. If they're coming off of the ship, could we scale that up? Could we be seeing, like, instead of 3 Cutlass Blacks, could we see 3 M2s?
Sure,
dropping off
if it
like
works.
Massive numbers. Yeah. And again, server performance would probably tank, but it's AC, so it's more about proving
like
the concept.
when server performance tanks in AC, it's significantly less noticeable.
Yeah. So it's like proving the concept rather than trying to apply it. And I'm just also wondering as well, it doesn't necessarily have to be humanoid. We've got Copions now. Could we be testing a whole mode of Copions? Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Cool.
That's an interesting thought. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know what the spawn closet is for Hopians. Are they currently just spawning in a bunker, taking their time, walking past NPCs, taking the lift, and then going to their location? Or are they just going to spawn out of nowhere? So they kind of need a more organic spawn approach to something like that. I'm just wondering what that is, because for me, I'd really like to see more organic methods of spawning NPC characters rather than pop they're in your face. Because in bunkers, I've seen them. They just sometimes they're elevators, sometimes they're right in front of you, and you don't know where they've come from, but they
And
just
to be
have.
fair, the ones that pop up right in front of you tend to usually then react a lot better than the ones that spawn in the elevators.
And you're in menu as well.
Yeah, you're on your mobiGlass when they pop up. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement with you. But the only thing that I'm a little iffy about is that, do we need things to make perfect sense in the fact that they come in ships, things like that? Depends on the location.
The illusion. It's the illusion of sense, right? Like,
yeah, of course, it matters.
Yeah,
but is it this high of a priority, or is it this high of a priority? That's my only.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the types of gameplay it enables rather than what it's trying to be. Because if
in the PU,
if you have like NPCs coming in on ships, that means those ships can be manned. If somebody dies on the ship, if the ship crashes, do all the NPCs die? Do some of them survive? I don't know. There's things to explore there and unpack. But
100%.
I think the fact that Rich brought something up, but it was only a very small mention about it. But the way he delivered it just makes me think this could lead into something more than what we're thinking.
Oh yeah, you're right. I agree. And I would ask that question, try and pry it out of them. Does this allow you to get to have more? Because they usually try to think ahead of for what they need and build out that, and hopefully this would be that case, right?
Yeah. And lastly, for me, I'm just gonna say I'm glad it's happening in AC because we were kind of worried about what's going on with AC, but I think this will be a really big testing opportunity for us all to use it. So I'm glad it's going there.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Well, all right, Comedy. I think that's probably a good place to stop then, and I appreciate the call, man. That was fun.
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
Talk soon, guys.
Later.
Catch up.
It's funny because that's like a copium call, but not at all at the same time.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's more like a, hey, wait, how do you think this is going to go? You know, because we don't have a lot of information about it.
It's the future of the game, but is it really that far away now with them having those discussions, right? All right, let's bring in our last caller for the day, Seiken. Seiken, can you hear us?
Seiken, how you doing?
Hey, doing awesome, you guys. How's it going? Good morning, Mike, and afternoon or evening, Croncy.
Very good evening.
Morning works.
Whoa, early. Awesome. I'm over in Texas, so you got me right at 11 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. Good morning, y'all.
Good morning, y'all. You're definitely from Texas. There you go.
Yeah, I get called out on it quite often. So yeah, just give you guys a quick intro, kind of give my background in Star Citizen, and jump into. I didn't get to watch Star Citizen live this week. I usually wait for your video for live reacts on it, Salty, and I just haven't watched it yet. But I'll jump into my thoughts on the money wipe and Invictus coming up.
The thumbnail's broken. I don't know what's happened. There's no thumbnail on that video, so people keep telling me about it. So I figured I'd say something now. I put one up. It shows that it's up in the back end, but it's not there. So I don't know. Weird.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out for sure.
It'll stick out. It has no thumbnail. It just looks really goofy.
Nice.
Yep.
But yeah, so I give some background on myself here. So back in since 2016, I think I was following it from the very start. That was when I officially came in. So back when it was just Port Olisar, and I think that was we had like the 1 or 2 missions you get to fly out to, and I've been watching it ever since and been a supporter all this time. So I'd seen a lot of the I guess the hard times we've gone through and the good times with 323, and with just watching your recent video, Mike, on kind of the necessity of like it having to go to live and like having to go through that hard point like we did with 318. I was like having like crazy PTSD from the start of it, and 318 was crazy because like we could barely get in. I think the big thing was like so many of us were trying to log in, we just couldn't. And like ever since 323 was coming around the corner, I've been watching the EP2 patches as they come out. That's like still like haunting me. I'm like, hey, this is going to happen, and yeah, we're gonna be in that boat again.
Yeah.
But when I saw your video, what you posted out just the other day talking about that, Mike, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes perfect sense. That's like the really true way we're going to be able to get like it out to a huge player base, and for us just like get through that hurdle.
Rip the Band-Aid off, man. Like the fact that we're still in PTU is just like, just do it, dude. Who cares? Rip it on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Just get it out of the way and get it to break as quickly as possible, so you fix it as quickly as possible.
Yes, yeah, exactly right. And with this releasing with Xenothreat, which Xenothreat has been pretty rough. I haven't played it on the ePTU yet. I've mostly just gotten on to fly around in the Gladius, which is amazing with the way that the sound and the feel of the new Gladius is just outstanding. But I haven't gotten to Xeno, so like with all this coming out, with Xeno also coming out, it's just like, oh my gosh, this game is totally going to break. But it's totally going to. Someone quoted Interstellar earlier, where it was like, it's not possible, but what's he say in that scene? It's like, but it's necessary, or it's necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, day one as well is always going to break. That's the nature of like every MMO. Is the second that you get any amount of hyped people to go in, you are 100% going to overload the servers, and it is never as simple as buy more servers. The real test will come like 3-4 days after it goes live to see if it's in a good spot or not, and it probably won't be. But that's what we've been talking about today, right? So
yeah, and the for me with the money wipe, like we had like, I think 20. I feel like 20 mil right now because of the lovely the eggs, and selling those and cargoing those, which was a fun gaming experience. So like the money wipe, used to it. Honestly, I think I've set myself for expectation wise. Anytime there's a patch, just expect the full wipe to happen. And definitely I've gone through that grind each patch. I think I've maxed out the bunker mission rep at least probably like 3 or 4 times now. So seeing the AI, and it's the good, the bad, the ugly, all throughout that time. So money wipe, definitely like cool. Totally on board with that. Invictus, I'm really excited for. Last time it was at Area 18, I think it's been a few years, right? Like 2020 or 20.
I have never played since an Invictus has been at Area 18. When I literally first started playing, it was IAE at RCorp, and then it hasn't been back since. I think we had like IAE there again, but not Invictus.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I love the city planet. It's as close as we get to Coruscant, right, from Star Wars. But one of the greatest experience I think I had with one of my friends that when I was getting him into Star Citizen, my advice was like, don't get it. And of course, he gets it the next day, and he's into the craziness. But we got to the, I don't know if they still have it, but right as you get off the tram on Area 18, I guess the convention center, there's this like kiosk desk that's like behind this wall, and we could jump into it. So we jumped back there, and we were stuck, but that was our fate. So we just started greeting people as they were coming into the convention, total role play. And we were like, man, that was like the most fun time. Yeah. And he's a pretty good guy. I could think of a lot of stuff like right on the fly. So it was like great for everyone that was like coming into the convention. But it was really cool. Area 18, excited. I really hope that it goes really smooth, because my favorite part of it is the tour on the Javelin. I just completely, like, whenever they had that for the first time, that was just like, I just lost it. I was like, this is so cool.
Are we even getting that this year?
Yes.
Because they didn't show the Javelin at all, did they?
They were not getting the Javelin. You're getting the Idris event that you should have had the entire time. You're going to tour the Idris now. So you're going to actually be able to tour the fully finished Idris, walk around it, not have any of the restrictions that you've had in the past. That's probably the highlight of Invictus that we didn't really talk about, that a lot of people missed out on that opportunity during the Idris event, and everyone was pissed off about it because they just wanted to look at it, and they didn't get to. Now you do. They should have done this in the first... This is how they should have shown the Idris probably initially, and then did the... Like, you have seen it, now you get to take it, but I think it worked out well either way. It's just It didn't
No
obviously
Bengal
didn't work
either.
out
Yeah,
well.
they didn't show anything about the Bengals. I imagine that's not here either. Now we get the Polaris, so that's kind of cool. But
yeah, I think they want to use that to show you something new. So
yeah.
I'm cool with it personally.
Didn't see the Bengal.
Yeah.
Oh, that I'm even more hyped now. So yeah, if they have the whole thing available, that's just cool. But yeah, I just remember walking into, I think it was the deck where they have like the hologram and like all the briefing chairs. Everyone, I was just like, I was losing it.
Yeah,
it's great. But I've noticed, I remember sometimes where they did release it close to a patch where like the NPCs weren't even populating inside the ship, and like you didn't get that full experience. And so like a part of me was just like, oh no, here we go again. It's like coming out right now. It is nice that it is like about a week out from probably when this game will go live too. So I feel like that's good enough time to, well, I feel like we need a month in live, but still a good enough time for it to kind of cook for any patches or hotfix.
That's a genuinely really good point, because Invictus is in 2 weeks. And, we imagine that 323 is going to come out in the next couple of days. Historically, they've done like a PTU for Invictus /IAE, either one of the events, for like 3 to 4 days before. So everything right now fits, unless 323 is an absolute terrible patch, and then everything goes to hell. So as long as we don't get 318 version 2, everything's on like schedule.
And the EVA doesn't break, and we keep
if EVA breaks, and then nothing's good in the game, surely.
Exactly.
Which by the way, I watched Ollie. He did a video on it, and whenever he went upside down with a box in his hand and flew into his ship and flawlessly landed, I was like, okay, here we go.
It's solid.
This is good.
It is solid. And like,
awesome.
Shooting in EVA is so much better as well, that like you're dying super fast now too. So that's good, both good and bad. I would say my biggest gripe about all the FPS changes, I feel like I'm dying like instantly again. So it's like, but
it's all right. Just
get good. I'm bad.
Plenty of balancing they can do as long as the mechanics work.
Exactly. I'm also bad, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, weirdly, I haven't died once in FPS in the new patch, Mike.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Not surprised. But yeah, I think that's probably where we call it, right, Seiken? Yeah. Anything else you want to quickly chat, like super fast?
Oh no, this is also awesome. Really excited for it. Really cool to talk to y'all. Been watching you forever. I feel like you're like the show that I watch in the afternoon. That my family is like, oh, you're watching Mike again tonight, and I'm like, yep, watching them. And then Croncy, it's been awesome watching you as well. But yeah, thank you guys for the time.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah,
that's
cheers
awesome.
for calling.
Appreciate it. All right, I thought he was going to say goodbye, but he didn't. That was awkward silence. Dead silence. But yeah, I think that's probably where we end today. But last thoughts before we like go off the plank and just Star Citizen dies completely, probably. Yeah,
I just hope we have good things to say about the game next week. I hope we get to have a good fun time. If once again there is no way it won't be at least a shit show for like a day. If we can have a couple of days through, maybe the servers start to respond a little bit better, then I'm going to be very excited and very happy. And then we get to lead into Invictus, and hopefully everything doesn't break there again. But yeah. I'm very optimistic. Like I said, after the last couple of days I've had in the game, so it's really just down to how much do these problems show themselves once you've got 10 to 20 times the player base in.
Because it'll probably be that much more, maybe 100 times, who knows? Because again, got a lot of people interested in the game that normally aren't, so it'll be this is one of those patches that was just like 318. Nothing too crazy is happening, but CitizenCon, that momentum again that Zyloh was talking about, they're riding it, but it could be to their detriment in this moment in the short term, but for the long term it's going to be much better for them probably to just screw it up, man. Just get all the nuts and bolts tightened on, and I think we'll be better. So I'm about ready to call it. You?
Yeah, just want to say, make sure if you're watching this on YouTube to subscribe. And Mike, we had today our very first 1 monther of our memberships. Remind the guys that you can
thank you.
subscribe to us as a membership over there if you want to help support us on YouTube as well. Coming up probably pretty soon, probably around the end of Invictus, maybe. We're going to be doing our first membership only question and answer, essentially thing. Topic session. I don't know what we want to call it, but that'll be coming. So if you want to talk about anything Star Citizen or Star Citizen adjacent, make sure you grab that membership and come soon.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. We could probably. Do you want to do? Yeah, we'll talk about it later. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
For this, but the yeah, get subscribed, all that stuff. We could do the outro kind of things. I'm trying to think of anything else that's going on that maybe we should highlight, but I can't. I'm not doing anything special. I don't think. Is there anything? No, right? Because all the racing stuff has happened and stuff like that for right now.
What's happening at the moment? I will say, if you are a fan of like anything Star Citizen's esports related, and you're not following Team Punch Nomis at the moment in the System 7 or really any other racing event, what are you doing? These guys are insane right now. Herbie and co, because it's Herbie, Gerbo, Quelsar, cannot stop winning just every race. Insane. No, Mike, this is an extra level. They were already amazing, and now it's like, now I feel dirty following them.
That's like an all-star team. That's not fair.
It's exactly. It's not fair. I love it.
You guys need a salary cap. That's ridiculous.
True. It should be illegal that Herbie and Gerbo can team up together. But yeah, it's been nuts. They've been absolutely crushing it. So make sure you watch those guys because they're gonna be around.
Yeah, that's like the Yankees. That's not cool. So, but yeah, check that stuff out that if you guys haven't. But people liked watching the Yankees in the 90s. So hey, for me, I'm done. I'm ready. I'm ready to eat. I'm ready to watch the Rangers. And you guys should never forget
to answer the call.